What's up, everyone? Monster Master Godzilla here, and I'm back continuing the Godzilla-Thon. We're now up to Godzilla Final Wars. Yes, Godzilla Final Wars, folks. Now, this one, oh my goodness, this one's an awesome ending to the Millennium Series. This one is like a remake of the Showa film Destroy All Monsters. And instead of the human characters are awesome, and like Destroy All Monsters, the monsters take a backseat to the humans. Only this time the human characters are actually awesome and better than the original, than Destroy All Monsters. They actually have the human scenes do a lot of fighting. So yes, throughout the Godzilla movies, you expect to see scenes with monsters fighting and people talking. But now it's both humans and monsters fighting. The Showa series had and it only showed like Showa monsters that were destroying the city, like we had Anguirus in Shanghai, King Caesar in Okinawa, Kamacuras in Paris. The Kumonga on Arizona, and 19 Rodan in New York City, and the 1998 Godzilla in Australia, Sydney, Australia. And the 1998 Godzilla is actually bigger than the one from 1998, and he's standing upright. And except they renamed him Zilla. And they explain that he's a monster misidentified as Godzilla. Like, remember? Like, if you connect basically, that's how they connected Millennium Series with 1998. So apparently Toho liked the monster so much, the monster design so much, that they decided to rename him Zilla. And explain that he's a monster misidentified as Godzilla. I mean, he looked nothing like Godzilla, but sounded like Godzilla. And so the human characters are called the mutants, and also the monster called Monda ends up making a brief appearance, but got destroyed by the Atragon / Gotengo with the Absolute Zero cannon, and he's destroyed. And some monsters like Varan, Gyra from War of the Gargantuas, and Gazora end up appeared in stock footage in the beginning. Now this movie is all about it came out in 2004, Godzilla's 50th anniversary, and it was the final Godzilla movie from the Millennium Series. And this Godzilla and the Godzilla's design is amazing. And many of the suits, Godzilla's been completely slimmed down, and the fingers fit the actor inside. And they weren't as bulky as the original Godzilla, as the other Godzilla movies. And Godzilla, of course, didn't get a lot of screen time, but he did in the beginning. He was put under frozen hibernation, which is the military then. Got Godzilla stuck in frozen hibernation, which is reminiscent of Godzilla Raids Again, where he got frozen for a while. So then, while all the monsters are out in the city, they actually found a monster called Gigan, which Gigan now makes an appearance, and he's sporting a very badass look, which he looks like this right over there. And later in the film, he still has his metal hooks for hands. And the alien enemy of the film, and the aliens in the film are called the Exilians, which you remember who first appeared in Godzilla vs. in Invasion of the Astro Monster. But this time have a better, awesome look, and they made him better. Even the main villain, the controller of Planet X. He's like the best part of the whole movie, which is the best villain of the whole movie. And he has some moments where he's really funny and throws temper tantrums. And he laughs so weird. And there are moments where, even when you get it in Japanese, there are some parts where you get them where they speak in English, especially one of the main human characters, which the main human character was played by none other than Don Fry, which has this mustache, and he's not only an actor, he's also an MMA fighter and wrestler and bodybuilder. And I met the guy, and I met Don Fry at SC Comic Con. I even got his autograph right here, folks. See that? I picked that one because it had Godzilla on it, and he had prints of his character in Godzilla Final War, so I picked this one because it has Godzilla on him. Because it has him with Godzilla on there, and it's an awesome pick. So, Don Fry is definitely like one of the best characters in one of the best human heroes in Godzilla, and he's like one of the main heroes of the film. And even though you had the movie in Japanese audio, he is seen speaking English throughout the movie, and he responds to everybody in English while everyone's speaking Japanese. So apparently, even if you got it in Japanese, even if you got it in Japanese with English subtitles, he pretty much like understands everybody. And there are moments where the Exilian is speaking English too, if you got it in Japanese audio. So, and even Akira Takarada makes an appearance, and that was his final, and that was the final film that was the final Godzilla movie from Toho that he appeared. And so, after they released, oh yeah, I forgot to mention Ebero was back in this one, as well as the Hedorah make an appearance, but those scenes were brief. So then after Godzilla, and after they released Gigan into the city and causing mayhem, the human characters force themselves into releasing Godzilla out of his ice prison. So then Godzilla ends up fighting Mechagodzilla by blowing up his head, and that's it. And Gigan got destroyed by Godzilla quickly, supposedly. And then Godzilla then takes out all the monsters that were in his way, and he destroys them. And supposedly, the movie was rushed during production, which is why all the battles that Godzilla fought were. Well, that's why all the battles that Godzilla's facing were short, except for the final battle, which can be disappointing. That's why a lot of people argue that Final War's Godzilla was the most powerful Godzilla, but it's not really why he's OP. It's the reason why all the battles are short is because the film productions was rushed, and that's why all the monster battles are short. And there are some funny parts when Godzilla shows his face like he's insulted, and where Godzilla fights Rodan, Anguirus, and King Caesar, and they were like playing soccer. And then one of the best parts is that Godzilla gets into a fight with Zilla, and they get face to face in the Sydney, Australia. And then Godzilla just knocks him out quickly and destroys him with his atomic breath. Like, it's a big middle finger to Roland Emmerich. It's like Godzilla showed up saying, "That's for stealing my identity and my franchise." That's what it's like for Godzilla in my eyes. So after defeating most of the monsters, Mothra shows up to help Godzilla and battle Anguirus and battle Gigan once again. Oh yeah, and the human scenes, parts of it kind of ripped off The Matrix, especially when one character's wearing black. And there was a scene where they battling a ship that looks like the golf ball from Epcot, and and one of the human characters destroys it, like the Death Star, sort of in Star Wars style. So yeah, apparently it's like derivatives to like they featured Godzilla, Matrix, and Star Wars all rolled into one. All the monster battles, human characters fighting. It's all out fighting, non-stop, and it was amazing. So then, not so mech so the aliens brought back Gigan, rebuilt him, and this time instead of metal hooks for hands, they gave him chainsaw hands, which are quite amazing. Amazing change. And not only Godzilla and fights the Mecha Godzilla again, not only that Godzilla fights Gigan again and has Mothra by his side, Mothra ends up sacrificing herself against Gigan, and Godzilla also fights another monster. This time it's called Monster X, which appears this weird skeletal dinosaur-looking thing, which is a nice design. And the Millennium Series does have a lack of new monsters. This one is like the first. This one at the time was the first new monster in a while. So then they got into a fight, and then surprise, surprise, Monster X ends up turning into Kaiser Ghidorah, which is a different variant of King Ghidorah, which is of Godzilla's arch rival. Like, what better way to end the Millennium Series by featuring his arch enemy and ended in the final battle? And my God, Kaiser Ghidorah gave Godzilla a hard time. He never even got him to fight back. Which, my God, he almost got killed by Godzilla, by Kaiser Ghidorah. But eventually, human characters then gave Godzilla the energy to fight back, and then he swung him up, threw him in the air, and destroys him with his atomic breath, annihilating him into nothing. And the Exilians are defeated, and Godzilla has finally saved the world, and all of the cities was in ruins. Also, I forgot to mention Manila is back. This time he doesn't look too bad, but he definitely had moments where it's really funny. Where he's really funny, like and it was the running joke throughout the film. And I don't know why Manila needs to be in there. So then Godzilla meets face to face with the main human characters again, but just as when they were about to destroy each other, Manila then shields the human characters, tell him it's all over now. No, please stop. But then Godzilla shows up. That ends it where Godzilla then forgives mankind. It ends where Godzilla then forgives mankind when him and Manila then walk away into the sea. And then it shows Godzilla looking at the camera with one final roar. And that's the end of the Millennium Series. And yes, in this film, this one's the final film of the Millennium Series. And at the time, he was taking a decade-long rest. So then Toho gave the Monster Star like a retirement from the franchise for a long while. And they actually and then when one of the Toho movies, which is not a non-Godzilla movie they made, gave him a small cameo, which I forgot what the name of the movie's called, but they actually use a CGI Godzilla in this one for a brief moment, and that was only there for a cameo. Like it's always sunset on what am I thinking of? Let me Google that for a minute. Like it's always sunset in. I'm Googling that right now. And I'm looking up that Godzilla design. I'm trying to look at the design that they gave him. And I'm trying to look for that design right here. And I'm trying to look for the design, folks, and the design was called Always Sunset on 3rd Street 2, where Godzilla makes a brief cameo. And it's not a Godzilla movie, but it's only there for a brief cameo, and it shows that Godzilla is never really gone. So even after he was just taking a decade-long rest. That is until 2014 when they made a new Godzilla movie. So this one I truly recommend giving it a watch. It's very fun and entertainment. Some may disagree with it, but give it a look for curiosity's sake. And that's all for now. And as always, stay awesome and Monster Masters. And next up, we'll be checking out Godzilla 2014. And as always, stay awesome and Monster Masters. And I'll catch you later. Bye.